Hey guys, it's M4J here and welcome back to F1 22 where I am trying to race as M4J Racing. This week is probably one of the most chaotic racing weeks I've ever been involved in, and I am not underselling this. We've got spins, we've got crashes, we've got epic mistakes from yours truly, and there's even a little bit of gravel thrown in as well for good measure. But we start this week here at Monza, where I'm currently trying to get to grips with the Lesmos corners, I believe these are called. Lesmos 1 and Lesmos 2. Here in the Pirelli Hot Laps supercars, where I'm currently driving a Ferrari. I can't remember which Ferrari. It's a Ferrari. And I've got another Ferrari behind me, driven by, I think it's Tremblay again. And you know how these work now. I race the AI, starting in front, level, and then behind over the 3 races. And the idea is to try and win all 3 races to get the goal. Now, this I do still find quite simple. It turns out in F1 22 I can actually race when the AI is balanced. These 2 races here today were recorded before the latest updates came out, before 1.07 and 1.08. So once again, you'll see the AI doing the AI things. You'll see my traction is all over the place. And as I swing here into the finish line to win the first out of the 3 races, you'll see that I can actually race against the AI for the most part when they're not in rocket ships. Here's race number 2. Again, starting alongside the AI this time, coming up to my least favourite chicane. Believe it or not, the first chicane I hate at Monza. I think everyone hates the first chicane at Monza. But it's not the one I hate the most. The one I hate the most is the one I've just gone around there, because I can never get the first corner right. At least with the first chicane, I do get the right-hander more often than not okay. And then it's the left-hander that kills me. This one, I can't get either of them right. I always end up in the gravel. See here, even going wide on the second Lesmos there. Not the best way to do it. And then down the DRS straight, which I probably should know the name of, but I don't. And then up towards the Ascari chicane. This one I actually do like. This is one of my favourite set of corners in the F1 calendar, providing you get the entry right again, of course. Now, the sausage curves, there's 2 on the right there, and there's 1 on the left there. If you hit those and you ride them, you will spin out. You're supposed to go around the right-hander and the left-hander there pretty much flat out in 5th and or 6th gear. I find myself lifting and coasting around the right-hander and then really launching out of the left-hander. It's personal choice. It's up to you whether or not you guys want to do that as well. It's not the fastest, as I'm sure you'll know if you watch me racing, but that's just the way I like to do things. We'll talk more about that during quali and the race, though. Here we are for the final race then. Tremblay in front, me behind. At this point, it's kind of just tailgating him, trying to get the slipstream. He then goes really slow into the first Lesmos, and I see that as my opportunity and sneak up the inside. And once you're in front of the AI here, you leave them for dead. He's not catching me. Look how far behind he is already. There's no deltas here. Oh, there is a delta. Sorry, it's at the top there. 1.4 seconds ahead already. 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. Yep, there it is. And then coming up for 1.8 seconds ahead as we head towards the Ascari chicane. There's 1.8, there's 1.9. I'm quite late on the brakes there, but still managing to get around the first bit. This section here, you're probably supposed to go around it as a nice little drift, but I didn't want to risk anything. And we're now 3.5 seconds ahead. 3.6, 3.7. As we come up to the finish line, 3.8, 3.9. Can we make it 4? I think we just ticked over 4 seconds ahead there as we cross the finish line. But what an absolute trounce to victory. Now, the one thing I don't like about the Pirelli Hot Laps is they fill you with confidence. If they make you think you can take on the AI, they make you think you can take on the world. And as it turns out, no, you can't. In fact, not only can you not take on the world, you can barely take on yourself at times. So going into the qualifying, I don't know why I said it like that. Going into the qualifying here, around Parabolica, I've got the setup once again from racinggames.gg. They have very recently updated our setups to match the new game updates, so do feel free to check those out. Coming up to the first chicane then, again, kind of a little bit of a lock up there, but got around the first corner. This is what killed me, because again, actually, I talked about the first chicane. I didn't get the line quite right, so I turned the second corner into basically a 180 hairpin instead of what it should have been. And at this point, you're pushing. You're just absolutely caning it, trying to catch up. That's Liam Lawson, I think, in front of me. The blue dot. Actually, no, it's Verstappen. Never mind. I saw a blue dot and it looked like mine, but it's not. Not so bad around the second chicane. And then coming up to the Lesmos 1, I had no idea what gear to be in around the first one, or the second one for that matter. I've tried watching videos of real drivers going around the track. I've tried watching our setup video to see how we did it there. Nothing helps. I see it and I'm like, okay, I'll try that. And then I get to the moment and I just go blank completely. To the Ascari then, down into 4th, which I think was a mistake. There's 5th and there's 6th. I think I could have done it in 5th and 6th. Really, really far behind now. You know, we're up to a minute, like 15, 16, 17, 18, coming up to Parabolica. Went really wide on the entrance, but pretty tidy on the exit there. I like having the wide line there because it gives you a better launch out of the corner. And I've managed to grab a few overtakes there in the past. But as you can see, I am miles behind the pack. 5.5 seconds behind the leaders, which is just unacceptable at this level. Going into the actual race then, I'm going to refer to my notes at this point. This was the 6th attempt to start the race. Various crashes, various spins, all that good stuff, really screwing me over. I'm just going to maximize my notes here so I can see what's going on. Opening 2 corners where you attempt to move up the field, but Lawson prevents that from happening. Yeah, you can see he's parked his car in front of me there. I basically have to come to a stop. 30 miles an hour, I'm going around the first 2 corners. That is far too slow. I'm also in completely the wrong gear. And by the time I come out of the opening chicane there, I am miles behind Latifi, who's the next car in front. On to lap 2, way too wide on the opening corner, and then spinning around on the exit. At this point, I was still using limited flashback, so I couldn't flashback here. So I had to spin it manually. And again, I think the game lights up the rear tyres way too quickly when you do a 180 spin. And I had to basically tiptoe out of the gravel back onto the track. Lap 3, what have we got for lap 3? I spin out at the end of lap 3. Yep, there's the damage on the wing. Once again, I couldn't flashback, so I had to carry on with a broken wing for the last 2 laps. Or was meant to carry on with a broken wing for the last 2 laps. Struggling here to get grip, struggling to get traction. 27 seconds now behind Stroll, who's the next car in front. I've got the tyre temps up there just to make sure I'm not lighting up the rears once again. I do actually set my fastest lap of the race here in lap 4. That might be because it was the only lap where I actually completed all the corners without incident. So I'll take that as a positive, I suppose. That was pretty nice through the first chicane there, actually. But, I mean, I'm going to moan a lot in this video, but it's my own abilities, really, that I'm moaning about. I've blamed the AI, I've blamed the game, all that good stuff. Now I'm going to blame myself a little bit. That was pretty tidy through that chicane. I think it's still a little too slow coming out. I need to get my foot down a bit faster, which means I need to straighten up the car a little bit faster. Lesmos 1, not too bad. Lesmos 2, just need to clip the apex there, and that was actually very nice indeed. In terms of the delta to Stroll, at this point again the AI are in rocket ship, so I've got full ERS, no DRS obviously, but full ERS, full pedal to the floor, and I'm still losing time. And I remember recording this, I had my partner in the room with me, and I was just yelling at her like, how am I losing time when I'm running flat out? And it's because the AI are just overpowered on the straights, especially coming out of slow corners, which Monza, let's be honest, most of the corners, especially the chicanes, are slow corners, and then they have straights directly after them, so the AI just keep pulling away. On to lap 5 then, final lap of the race, and something is about to happen. I'm not going to give away what it is, but something here is about to happen. I was looking up the delta at this point. I was like, I'm catching on Stroll. I'm not going to pass him on this lap or anything, don't get me wrong. But look, oh, I've spun. And not only have I spun, my back wheels actually, I don't think I'm beached in the gravel. I think my back wheels actually went off a little ledge. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get the car going again. I could well be beached in the gravel here. I don't actually know. I didn't check the replay. But I got disqualified from the race for staying stationary for too long. I don't think it was my fault, but what can you do?
The clear air today then, and didn't allow anyone to exploit the slipstream behind them. What a great win here at Monza. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. Can't wait to see what's next.
So the end of the Italian Grand Prix there for me personally was absolute nonsense. The fact that I couldn't get the car going again. Like I said, it might have been in the gravel. It felt like the back wheels went over like the edge of the track, and maybe I was sort of grounded rather than beached. There is a difference between the two, as we at Racing Games discovered. There is a difference between the two. Very, very angry comment section that day. Here we are then for the Pirelli hot laps for the Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka. Now, everyone loves Suzuka. When Suzuka wasn't on the calendar for 2020 and 2021, there was a lot of sadness. Now, I've raced Suzuka on the last 3 F1 games, and I think I see the appeal for real-life racing, but I do not see the appeal for the in-game racing. This track is one of the worst tracks for me in terms of the Suzuka S's, which I think should be made illegal. The hairpin is, I think, the tightest hairpin after Monaco, and is an absolute nightmare to get around. This chicane here, which I know why it was added, it was for safety reasons, but again, it just screws up your lap. And I have never ever in my life experienced a corner like turns 1 and 2 here at Suzuka, where turn 1 you enter it flat out despite the red line, and then you brake really hard on a corner to get round turn 2. It is just awful. You see there I'm losing the car. This is again is the supercars, so the physics is a little bit different. Having to brake incredibly early for the hairpin, but actually not doing too bad a job. Then this charge down here, which is all one long right-hander really. I think it's 2 or 3 corners, but it feels like one long right-hander. And Suzuka literally is all corners. There's no straight line at Suzuka at all. Even the pit straight here is on a slight... This little section here is the only straight line. Everything else is a corner. Even the back straight, which I think should be a DRS zone myself, but even that is one long corner. It's an interesting track. I wish it was a little easier to drive, because I do want to like it. I'm really looking forward to watching the Japanese Grand Prix this year, purely to see how the real-life drivers actually handle some of these corners. I've seen archive footage of old races, but I think with this generation of cars, there will be a huge, huge difference. Here we go then for one-shot quali. My wheel eyebrows bouncing all over the place there. Entering turn 1, I don't think I went slow enough there, so I lost a little bit of time. You can see the ghost there starting to get away from me. Now the secret to the S's here at Suzuka is to stick to the line and lift and coast. And as you can see, I failed to do all of that. Not only do I fail to stick to the line, I don't lift and coast. Actually, I brake way too heavily on some of these. This is the only corner here where I learned how to lift. Then you come up the hill here, and it's a bit like the right-hander at the top of the hill at Zandvoort. You just don't see it coming. So you've got to try and grip the track there. Then it's round this corner here where I downshifted too much. And that cost me about 1/10, I would say. Coming up to the hairpin. Excuse me, stifling sneezes as well. Went too wide there, which in the race itself might have been okay because I could send it around the outside, but in quali, nope, not good at all. Trying to stick to the racing line here as well. At 1 minute, you're going too quickly around the corner, then you're going too slowly and you're starting to push yourself wide. That section there, I think it's okay to ride that curb without destabilizing the car too much, but still. Down the back straight then, I think that's the MotoGP pit lane on the right hand side there. I'm not 100% sure. There's definitely a pit lane there, and I think is that corner called 130R, something like that. Into the chicane, completely misjudged it, locked up as well. My braking is still atrocious, and then round the final corner, where I remember playing Grid Legends and nearly snatching first place on my debut in the Grid Series, and there we are, dead last again. Now, this time we're only 4.7 seconds off the lead, so it could have been worse. Liam Lawson not too far ahead of me as well. Here we are then with the manual start. This is attempt number 10 at starting the Japanese Grand Prix. And for this one, you see Lawson there immediately peels round and tries to make the overtake. I would love to be able to do that myself, but the AI just blocked me. And I've said this before, my racecraft is terrible at the best of times. It's awful. Awful. Tom's even put in the notes, 10th attempt, nothing happens. So I think I got through cleanly there. But at that point, I just resigned to the fact that I wasn't going to get any overtakes in this race at all. And just to sit at the back and accept my fate. So this is lap 4, which is my fastest lap of the race. At this point, I'm kind of getting to grips with the S's. If this was a 15 lapper, by the end of the race, I would be accustomed to the S's. And I would be able to get around them, no problem. Here, a little bit finicky still. Trying to get used to them. Going way too wide there. Bit of lag there, I think. Or that might just be my editing software. Up the hill here then towards the hairpin. And I'm not too far behind Gasly in front. Gasly can't get past Latifi, can't get past Lawson, can't get past Ricciardo. So there's kind of a train going on here. I think I actually had DRS at the end of lap 3 as well, which helped. The two left-handers here, heading into the back straight, which isn't really straight. Again, not too bad round there. I'm within a second of Gasly, which for me was incredibly exciting. And I think at this point I got a little bit greedy, and there might be a flashback involved in this section, or there was earlier on in the race, where I tried to send it and it just didn't work. Like here, I felt like I could send it up the inside, but you need to get the line through the first bit of the chicane, and even there I destabilized myself too much, and I lost like 3/10, 4/10, even maybe more coming out of that corner. Thankfully the DRS detection is before the chicane, not after it, so I managed to get DRS for the final lap of the race. There was my fastest lap, and then up to the final couple of corners. You can see I've had a few oopsies during the lap. I'm now 5, if not 6 seconds behind Gasly, and here we are across the line to end the Japanese Grand Prix and to end my misery in this video. We will get better, we will improve, the car will improve, but for now we are stuck in mediocrity around the first season here. We've got 2 races to go. We've got Brazil and Abu Dhabi. Before I talk about those, though, and show you the highlights of this Grand Prix, let's take a look at the celebrations.
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Some amazing talent out there on track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day.
Carlos Sainz would be my first choice for this race. He had excellent race stamina, giving him the opportunity to charge through the ranks.
Nothing can challenge the leaders of the Constructors' Championship at this point, but so then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So 25 seconds behind the leader in the end, which for a 5-lap race, I lost 5 seconds a lap off the leaders, which is so bad. You can see why I'm last in qualifying even. So bad. Here we are then for the highlights around Suzuka. Lawson actually did all right on the opening stages here. He got past 2, he got past Gasly, he got past Latifi. I think he managed to make it stick as well. The line Lawson is taking is actually the line I tried to take through the first 9 attempts. I did try around the outside a couple of times. I prefer going around the outside of turn 1 because it's cleaner, in my opinion. But yeah, going up the inside, you just get punted. The AI is so aggressive, even on the lower difficulties, so aggressive. And yeah, like I said, I just resigned myself to the fact that I was going to be at the back. I wasn't going to get any overtakes done. Going around the outside of the hairpin there, I actually thought I'd got Gasly, and then I saw him in front of me still. It's a bit like Raikkonen, where he was asking why Bottas was still in front of him. It's because Gasly was always in front of me. I never actually got past him there at all. So like I said, the frustrations are there. We got 2 races left of the season. I'm not expecting anything from them. Abu Dhabi maybe, because the new track layout. There's no ridiculously weird corners anymore, which should be fun. But otherwise, the season's going to end pretty boring, I suppose. But until next week, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And of course, if you enjoyed the series, drop some comments down below. Let me know how to improve the car, the team, all that good stuff. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. And until next time, I will see you soon.